Welcome to all of you watching CNBC Africa. 2024 has been a remarkable year for Rwanda, marked by significant investments across various sectors. From transformative infrastructure projects such as the development of Amahoro Stadium to real estate ventures such as Giza Estates, Rwanda has made bold strides. The country has also advanced its sustainability efforts and experienced unprecedented growth in the mines sector. Additionally, major investments in financial services, education, ICT, and manufacturing are positioning Rwanda as a gateway to Africa. In this episode of Invest Rwanda, we take a closer look at the key highlights of 2024. My name is Eric Shaka, and this is Invest Rwanda. The Proof of Concept initiative aims to position Rwanda as a launchpad for businesses across the continent, with its focus on becoming an education and investment hub, along with tech-driven initiative and a strategic location. Rwanda is steadily transforming into Africa's gateway for investments.
Rwanda has been investing in technology because our leadership understands from a get-go in our journey for socio-economic transformation that technology was going to play a critical part in that. And so we started early on in doing investment in infrastructure, but also building the right capabilities in terms of skills. And 21 years later, you're seeing kind of a robust ecosystem where the infrastructure is more and more reliable and sufficient to serve the needs that we have. And of course, as the needs increase, it's paving also a way for more investment into more capabilities or the next generation capabilities.
For a long time now, we had the visionary leadership, which saw an opportunity that it would require investments into fiber optic cables, developing training for young people in technologies in computer programming, applications, and other skills that would give them an opportunity to participate in the economies of the future. And all these things are all of a sudden beginning to align with each other. And so we're seeing increasingly innovative business solutions that integrate ICT, that integrate finance, that bring in the internet, that bring in knowledge in the health sector, and education and others. All these creating innovations for new businesses that one would not have thought about in the past. And this is what is creating the dynamism that you're seeing.
We have really an emerging startup ecosystem that has also been a result of the economic transformation in different sectors, particularly in technology area. We are seeing young people graduating from our universities with the appetite to innovate. They're graduating ready to come into these innovation ecosystems like NOSC and Westervele and others that are available across the country in our hangar hubs. They're coming with this desire to create solutions. The vision of the country has really recognized that, and we seeing some of the benefits of having invested in technology. And whether it's in healthcare, whether it's in agriculture and education and financial technologies.
Rwanda is creating a large pool of talent to attract investors. But more importantly, they are nurturing a generation of innovators and entrepreneurs who are tackling challenges across Africa and the world.
Obviously, we work with private sector companies that also have the capacity to train and to attract more talent. That I think in the next phase of economic transformation, we can both leverage our institutions in the country, but also global talent, making it possible for global talent to come and work alongside young Rwandans here in the country. And we're seeing really benefits in having invested in the education system, and particularly in technology sector, all the way from secondary school, the Rwanda Coding Academy, to University of Rwanda, and also other programs at the Carnegie Mellon University at master's level. We are seeing, a more sophisticated talent pool that can drive some of the solutions that we're innovating and sustaining in the country.
Creating a world-class institution on the continent in Rwanda that is Pan-African with over 19 countries represented at CME Africa has been a remarkable achievement in of itself. For many of these students, it's their first time that they've been in an environment interacting so closely with students from all across the continent. In many cases, they have to leave the continent to first be introduced to students from other parts of the continent. So just the existence of CME Africa and fostering that ecosystem has been a remarkable achievement. Beyond just the Pan-African success of CME Africa, just being able to educate technical talent in Rwanda that then feeds into the government, industry, and entrepreneurial workforce in Rwanda and across the continent has been a game changer. So no longer do students have to leave the continent to experience a Western US-based education. They can have the same quality of education right here in Kigali, in Rwanda, that is having this transformative impact.
To build on this success, the government is creating a unique ecosystem, Kigali Innovation City. This dynamic city will integrate academia, tech institutions, and the private sector, fostering collaboration and driving business growth.
We have the Kigali Innovation Center, which is a platform really that is providing education where universities and research centers and entrepreneurs can interact together, and this ecosystem is what is yielding innovative new businesses that you are seeing around.
That is really contributing to implementing the vision of His Excellency President Kagame of an Africa that not only consumes technology, but also produces technology right here in Africa. Kigali Innovation City will create an ecosystem of African companies and also global companies that will produce technology right here. The development impact goes beyond that because Kigali Innovation City also will house a number of universities that will train, educate many students that will work in African companies and globally.
We think of it as a proof of concept strategy where talent, and funding and opportunities can meet in terms of designing solutions that can scale on the continent and globally. But you're already seeing some progress where Carnegie Mellon University, University of Rwanda Biomedical Engineering and eHealth, the African Leadership University, among the first movers in actually occupying space in the Kigali Innovation City. So what we can expect over the next couple of years is further development, more institutions, academic companies, and research institutions, being able to take advantage of the infrastructure, of the talent to develop further innovation.
Now, Rwanda boasts ambitious infrastructure projects in transport, energy, and development plans, fueling economic growth and positioning the country as a leading investment destination in Africa. We had a candid conversation with Rwanda's Minister of Infrastructure. Listen in.
2024 has been a very good year for us. In February, we commissioned the largest power plant in Rwanda, the Shema Power Lake Kivu, which is powered by methane, which is a gas from Kivu. We also commissioned the Rusumo hydropower plant, which is shared between Rwanda, Burundi, and Tanzania. Of course, we are waiting for inauguration early next year, but the power plant is well and running. Rwanda is on a good track to achieve 100% renewable energy, especially last year, 2023, in June. We decommissioned the petrol-powered generators. That has been a very big milestone for us to not only to lower the emissions from our sector, but also to lower the cost of energy in Rwanda. Yeah, and also commissioning this Rusumo hydropower plant, which is also not small. It's 27 megawatt for us. and 27 megawatt for each of the two other countries. Plus the methane gas is not totally a clean energy, but is much cleaner than other sources like coal and peat. So this also helps us move closer to the 100% renewable. In addition, we are also in full swing building the Nyabarongo hydropower plant, which will be 43 megawatts. So we are inching closer every year. In terms of green financing, I would say it's a relatively new sector for most of us. We are learning, but we see some momentum in rural electrification with the home solar kit. There are a lot of momentum in harnessing the carbon market in that area. And some of our power plant IPPs and even the new IPPs, a new power purchase agreement that you are signing, we are also putting the clause on how do we harness and how do we share potential revenues from the carbon market. Rwanda is, I would say, starting to harness the potential for carbon market. I believe the potential is much bigger than what we are achieving, but at least we have a framework of how to access the carbon market through the Ministry of Environment, especially the Rwanda Environmental Management Authority, and even the Ministry of Finance is starting streamlining the green financing, the green taxonomy. Green taxonomy means how to assess the project in terms of green financing. So I would say we are in a process of building legal and regulatory framework and processes to harness the market, while first movers like mostly private sector are already harnessing some of the proceeds from the market. In terms of Africa, I think to fully tap into the potential of carbon trading, there is a need for Africa-wide carbon market. It would help increase the size of the market to attract more investors. But of course, the African market needs to be integrated into the general global carbon market. There is also a need to have harmonized procedures and processes, as well as transparent mechanism to account for the carbon saving in different projects. 2025, the biggest project was the Shema Power and the Rusumo hydropower plants. The rest are in the making, for example, Nyabarongo 2, which will come in 2027. So for now, 2025, we are going to focus on access, reinforcing our grid. We have a project in different districts to reinforce our electricity grid, minimize the loss, and we increase the stability of our grid. This also helps reduce the greenhouse gas emissions, because when you have a stable power, when you have a resilient grid, people are less likely to use diesel generators. Also, we continue to improve the access to the clean cooking to rural population. This is improve the cook stoves, solar energy generation, and we are also going to significantly scale the clean cooking using LPG. It's not entirely green, but is much greener than deforestation that comes when you use biomass.
In real estate, Rwanda's innovative development, sustainable design, and strategic investments are reshaping Kigali's skyline and redefining the future of the sector.
What Rwanda has done is they have a vision, and running full speed towards that vision has probably been one of the most exciting things I've ever done. I've had the opportunity to do that in a slum upgrading situation, so neighborhoods that really need better access to services, better construction materials, they need to densify to be able to meet code, and Rwanda has taken the lead with that. And so a rehousing project that we first envisioned as a test of 10 units, now 1,000 units will be done in a couple months, which is really fantastic over the span of 3 years to have that kind of transformation. Other projects are like the Green City Kigali project, which is a greenfield project. So now this time we're talking about starting absolutely from scratch. And by the end of it, it should have some 30,000 dwelling units in that development. But it also will have schools and educations and industry, everything needed to really support the community in terms of jobs. Because if we have a construction industry that doesn't create jobs, we're missing an incredible opportunity.
There was a growing demand, and the city is growing. The city is growing. So the reason why we chose this area is because of the new road that was actually built, and because we are in partnership with the government. The government has also the Kigali master plan, so they do know where the future development is kind of like going to really intensify. So it was a jointly decisions with the government, actually, especially city of Kigali, whereby they've actually kind of like earmarked this area as a mixed-use development. And when we saw it, we liked it because it wasn't really far from the city center.
From bracket by bracket perspective. Since you specifically asked me about residential, what we're beginning to see is that in the high-end space of the market, it's beginning to narrow down in terms of not supply, but in terms of quality. So whereas, say, 5 years ago, properties that would rent for anything above $3,000 were not, value for money was still a bit of a challenge. Today, you're having more supply comes onto the market, value for money is beginning to be prominent. There's a growing expatriate class in Kigali specifically, and there's also a growing upper middle class, and that's creating a little bit of pressure on the low supply of middle to high-end housing. So specifically talking about apartments in high prime areas, huge opportunity in that space. Townhouses in middle income neighborhoods, huge opportunity in that space. The lowest hanging fruit by far still remains around the demand for affordable housing. The supply is still quite low, and yet that's the fastest.
The Riverside affordable homes. So it's basically a project that that we are in partnership with the government of Rwanda. That was officially launched in February 2022 by His Excellency President Paul Kagame. And the idea was to sort of like establish a working relationship between the private sector as well as the private sector to see how we can cater for the masses, especially as the rate of urbanization is kind of like increasing, and we have a growing middle class that really demands to have like access to decent and affordable dwellings. So the project that we currently have here, it's segmented into 5 phases. What we have here today is the pilot phase, which is phase 1, which is 247 homes that varies from 2 bedrooms to 4 bedrooms. Of urbanizations in Kigali, or in Kigali actually, Rwanda, is going to increase from 18% to 35%. So you have a growing middle classes, and you do not have the houses that will actually satisfy that middle part. But also you have the government who are intensifying in terms of infrastructures, the roads, the water, the electricity. So there is a growing demand for an ever-growing country, for an ever-growing city actually, that there is not enough affordable housing. So when I looked at my crystal ball, I see that the demands are going to be increasing year on year. I think in 2021, when we first arrived here, there was on record that there was a shortfall of 360,000 affordable homes actually, not only for Kigali, but across the country actually. But they reckon that this is going to be increasing year on year. So they reckon by the year 2050, there's going to be a demand for something like 5 million homes. So you can sort of like see where this is going now. This is not something that is going to be just ADHI to respond to. There is a role that, I mean, tackling affordable or shortage of affordable homes is not a one singular approach. It's like a multifaceted approach whereby the developers has a role to play in terms of like innovation, constructions, methodologies, whereas the government has the role to play for whereby they have to put in the incentive in place, and then the financial institutions has a role to play for, because as a developer you have to have access to cheap financing.
If you look at the master plan of Kigali, master plan of the entire nation, we have a lot of complex projects. It's a matter of having the right leadership and knowing this is our vision, this is where we want to be. If you look at the resources we have, the first resource we have is human resources. But again, what do we have? What do we want to achieve? What do we want to be? So with the leadership of the country, they have streamlined, they have shown us where they want to be. Like I was saying, every pair has to do their part. So if you look at the big projects that we have running today, if you look at the new Bugesera International Airport, Rwanda is small, the population is small, but the people who pass here, who can come here, depending on what we offer, be it here, be it regionally, it's very important that we think ahead. So it's important that such a project has been put in place and it's under construction. Well, I think in the first stage, I think first phase will be like around 7 million, which will increase later to maybe 14 million. So that's a very big one. And if you have to make this a hub, you have to make sure that you have this kind of facilities. So when it comes to sports, you can see the stadia that are in place, the arena, indoor arena. So much as you can have a good environment, people can come in, but you need to have these facilities. If you're hosting games, if you're hosting tourists, they should be having where to go, where to enjoy life. So we have sports facilities, we have hospitality facilities like this one where we're seated today. So the government has put this ahead. It's a priority to the government, you can see. But also we as engineers, we as the private sector have to play our part. So it's a matter of the government putting ahead a plan and going together as a team to make sure we achieve it and making sure that it's sustainable. That's why we have to bring in the professionalism, make sure we do the right job, starting from the design planning phase, when it is implementation, to make sure everything is done the right way for longevity, for durability.
In healthcare, Rwanda is revolutionizing its healthcare system, positioning itself as a leading destination for medical tourism in Africa. Through bold reforms, the development of state-of-the-art medical facilities, world-class institutions, and a futuristic health city, the country is driving innovative solutions to improve healthcare outcomes for its citizens and the region.
If you look at the density of the health workforce in Rwanda, we are at 1.2 per 1,000 skills professionals. It means you have added your nurses, your midwives, your medical doctors all together, and you make a ratio based on the population size. We are at 1 to 1,000. The minimum required to tell that a country is resilient and sustainable is 4. So we are 4 times less than what we should have. Literally, it means whoever is there, out there working clinically is doing a job that is meant to be done by 4 people. So 4x4 is there to answer that low density issue, to ensure that the services are delivered, accessible, the workforce is equitably distributed, not only focused in the urban cities, and they should also be in the rural area because we have decentralized our services. The 4x4 concerns all cadres, medical doctors, nurses, midwifery, non-physician anesthetists, eye doctors, all the cadres should be embracing that reform.
We are increasing the number, we are increasing the type of people that are being trained, so that we are not only training doctors, but we are training nurses and all the people that I have mentioned, the policymakers, the researchers, the innovators, and also looking at equity. our students also, we are trying to fill the gap of female practitioners, in that our medical schools, 3/4 of our intake are women. We train our students right from the beginning with the knowledge of being aware of where they are and who and why they are here. The patient and the community are our North Star. They are the ones who guide what we do. And the people with the knowledge is not some foreign experts or, or just textbooks, but they are the very communities where we are. They are the patients in the hospitals where we are. So our students are trained with that in mind and aware of that. We bring actually patients, we bring communities to be part of our trainers, in conjunction with experts from, of course, from the, the health facilities, both in the district, in the whole of Rwanda, and also internationally. So there is that combination of filling a gap that was contextually missing in the way we trained, especially on the continent, where medicine, healthcare was a foreign product that was given to us to go and dispense. But this is context appropriate. And the training also, besides just the medical school, it is interdisciplinary. We have, we train nurses and midwives, we train policymakers, we train leaders that are already in, that are in service already, we train researchers, scientists, innovators, and we do this in partnership with both regional and international and local communities.
The sector is also stepping up, establishing healthcare facilities and contributing to the country's growing healthcare infrastructure.
A few years back in India, in our headquarters where we have a 1,000-bed hospital, the former ambassador to India from Rwanda was there and visiting our site, and also we had Dr. Laurent Mbanda, the Archbishop of the Anglican Church, visiting us. And seeing the project that we have there in India, they said, why not have this in Rwanda? So that is the time we thought, why not? But we were not sure. But it was in the year 2018, I think, that our team came here and we said, oh, what a beautiful place and a wonderful governance that we have. We should do this. So it was the vision of our Honorable Metropolitan Johann, the first Metropolitan of our church, who said we should do this. And that's how we are standing here right now, building a 220-bed multi-speciality hospital that can be a help for the people of Rwanda, not just Rwanda, but Africa in whole. As per our initial research, we found out there are a lot of needs, especially in the medical field, especially in terms of treatment, the facilities that can be provided, the number of doctors in terms of expertise, and a lot of professional courses that can be provided in this sector of health, which we felt was lacking. But using our expertise back in India, we thought, why not do this? So that is where we came up with this, where we want to start at least a 12-department multi-speciality hospital, departments like gastrology, cardiology, nephrology, where we can have full-time doctors that can help the people of Rwanda and Africa. At the same time, we were thinking to have a medical university where we can train young brothers and sisters who can become medical professionals at the highest level. What we have seen is there are doctors, but they need the exposure, they need the experience. That is where we step in. We will provide them with that experience and exposure that can help them further to help the medical facilities and the treatment of people here in Rwanda.
Beyond hospitals and medical institutions, new research and training centers are being built across Rwanda. One such example is IRCAD, Africa's first minimally invasive surgery training center.
And we started almost a year ago in October 2023. We opened up, and basically we're here to educate, elevate, and innovate. So we're here to educate surgeons in the latest techniques. We give courses that run between 3 to 5 days in all the areas of surgical subspecialty. And for instance, today we have an anesthesia course. And the idea is that, and we're specialized in minimally invasive surgery and robotic surgery. So we have one of the few surgical intuitive robots here in the sub-Saharan Africa. We're the only ones in this area on the continent. And also we are into innovation. So we have engineers here on site that work with engineers in France, and we're working to automate and innovate in the ultrasound technology as well as surgical techniques. We currently have an AI ultrasound project that's running a clinical trial in Masaka Hospital. We give conferences, for instance, we have oncology conference coming up in the new year, and we give healthcare related conferences. And these are always top level. We have an international faculty of over 800 experts that has been developed over the 30 years with France. And so we always seek the top expert in the world, no matter where they're from. If they're from Africa, if they're from Asia, if they're from North America or Europe, we have those experts available who come on site.
Strategic plan to fully capitalize on this opportunity.
If I'm from Cameroon and I'm choosing between Paris and Rwanda to do things like endoscopic ultrasound, I will come to Rwanda. It's visa-free. I don't need visa to go to Rwanda. It's closer, it's cheaper, and the quality is comparable, if not better.
We have been given a mission of positioning ourselves not only in Rwanda, but also positioning ourselves in Africa, and deal with, as you see, there are some treatment modalities that require to go abroad. So we are trying to start the programs here and also attract patients. Instead of sending, trying to attract patients to come to us. We are going to expand the hospital, so increase the capacity. By increasing the capacity, we are going to expand the existing services, but also introduce new services. So, and also have qualified staff. So that's why the expansion goes with training.
Rwanda positioning itself as a medical hub is indeed the vision for UGHE, because the wider vision, the bigger picture, is that UGHE trains healthcare providers who are going to radically change the way healthcare is delivered in Rwanda, in the region, in Africa, and internationally, by the way we train, by the way we give services. So we are right in sync with what the government wants to do. We have one of the best simulation labs on the continent. There are only 3, and we are one of them. And this does not only serve UGHE, it serves the whole of the country. We have an innovation center that is now training fellows from the region about innovating in health. So we were right there at the cutting edge of medicine, so that we have solutions that are context again specific and right ahead.
We see this as a best option for medical tourism. We want to create this as a hub. Why? Because there are a lot of African people who go all the way to Europe or India and spend a huge amount of money for their treatment. We want to cut that down. We want them to come to their own place, to their own continent, where they can get a good treatment and a minimal cost. Why? Because they save a huge amount of money by saving the travel cost. That amount can be invested in their treatment, and they can get better treatments.
Kigali Health City is poised to be a game changer in healthcare provision, with several facilities already operational.
The complexity of medicine requires that you create an environment whereby you are updated and you are accessible easily. That's how who is neighbor of who in that Kigali Health City is not by coincidence. If you find the cardiac center next to IRCAD, next to the University of Kigali, it's not by coincidence. It's just meant to be that way. Soon we find also other infrastructure like National Laboratory, which is upgraded, FDA, which is a regulator, at way that is upgraded. There is a high-level isolation unit for a center of excellence for high-level isolation unit for infectious disease of high consequences, because it goes with research, it involves clinicals, and also it involves the conversation of the caliber of the people who are to work in that city. You will also find the relocation of the University of Rwanda, College of Medicine and Health Sciences, because you cannot have these great services and you leave behind the trainees who should be able to see and access, because they're the one who to take it forward. So they will be also in that valley. You will also have a very significant presence of the private sector at specialized and super specialized level. The robotic surgeries, things that we used to dream that they are very far away, you are able to bring it not only in the city, in an ecosystem that is very well thought and accessible to trainees to take it forward and make it sustainable.
Rwanda is emerging as a rising star and the premier MICE destination in Africa, ranking second on the continent and generating $95 million in 2023. This growth is driven by strategic policies, modern infrastructure, and key partnerships.
Rwanda has got a very good reputation, so everyone wants to be in Rwanda. Every time we offer to host an event, people will welcome our offer. Not only Rwanda has developed adequate infrastructure, as you can see, the Kigali Convention Center is actually the second best convention center in Africa after Cape Town. And when you look at the level of professionalism of our service providers, we can easily rank #1, not only in Africa, even globally. The organizers I had interaction with from when they start preparation for this Biashara Africa, they were very happy with our service providers. They were very happy with the Rwandan infrastructure that is available, and they were very happy with the hospitality. I think Rwanda qualifies to host these kind of events.
The Rwanda Convention Bureau does a really good job of implementing the regulatory environment and also ensuring that we can crowd in the right type of operators, from professional conference organizers to tour operators to many other businesses involved in the sector. And then to have a good place to do these meetings, to have stable internet, to have good infrastructure, to have electricity and lighting. These are very basic utilities and needs, but important for the MICE sector, and I think they've contributed immensely.
In 2023, tourism revenues reached $620 million compared to 2022, representing a 36% increase, and recovery status at 124%, which means that compared to 2019, during the COVID-19 times, tourism revenues surpassed 2019 level by 24%.
Leadership and vision. I believe His Excellency had a vision of saying, where can Rwanda diversify its offerings given where we are centrally located. So the vision to even see Rwanda as a MICE sector from the leadership has been very important to driving this agenda. Secondly is the legal and regulatory environment. That's everything from ensuring that visitors can enter the country visa-free or visa on arrival. That is ensuring that there is a conducive business environment for hotels, service providers, tourism operators to be able to establish as easily and as efficiently as possible. And then 3, there's also the infrastructure. That's everything from this building that we're in, the road networks, the airport, whether that's Kigali International Airport or even the new Bugesera International Airport. These are things that attract meetings to happen, knowing that this is part of the broader strategy of the government. that they will be facilitated throughout that process.
On the other hand, leisure tourism more than doubled compared to 2022, with an increase of 120%, accounting for $236 million. Rwanda hosted more than 1 million visitors, corresponding to an increase of 35% compared to 2022.
Visit Rwanda is a slogan, yes, it's an important slogan, but there's elements tied behind it. You're visiting for a reason: leisure tourism, business tourism, religious tourism for other types of things. So even when we're talking about business, a lot of people are coming for meetings, incentives, conferences, and exhibitions. So they're able to really take advantage of all of these infrastructure and policy environments that we've discussed, and that further lends itself to exposure to the rest of the world. We have coverage. Of course, there's people who come and visit and go out and talk about what they've seen, but we also have media that's involved in the process, that's able to showcase this, and whether it's the facilities, whether it's the environment, even the organization itself, that allows for this to be displayed to the rest of the world and attract even other conferences to come and take place.
Fueled by strategic investments from both the government and private sector in the past decade, Rwanda has successfully hosted major global events such as the 73rd FIFA Congress, Women Deliver, Basketball Africa League, Commonwealth Heads of Government Meeting Program, World Economic Forum, and the Mobile World Congress, just to name a few.
For us as a business, is really aligning with where the government is sort of moving from an objective perspective, and that is to take the Kigali sports city and catalyze it into what we see globally, be it in the West or in Europe or even in the East, where these massive pieces of infrastructure create an economic ecosystem around it that create jobs, they create skills development opportunities consistently because of the foot traffic that is coming through the space. So that's QA's objective within Rwanda. I think as a business across the continent is to catalyze the sports and entertainment across the board. We have this vision of some of our artists, be it Bruce Melody or Burna Boy or any artist across the continent, being able to tour Africa, from South Africa right up to Cairo. As it stands, we don't have that infrastructure, we don't have that network, and that for us as a business is what we want to be able to unlock and create an economy that I think for the large part is sleeping at the moment.
The fusion of sport and music offers substantial potential to help drive economic growth and development. Africa's music market is expected to show an annual rate of 11.32% growth between now and 2027, and total revenue in the sports market on the continent expected to grow at an annual rate of 9.02% between now and 2027, resulting in a projected market volume of $8 million by 2027.
Over the past 4 years that we've been here and operating, we've seen clear signs of the benefit around it. It creates more of a buzz in the city. It creates Rwanda as a destination that we all want it to be, where people not only see Rwanda just for mice, but they see it for entertainment, for culture, for experiences. And so, from our side, and I think again aligning with the government, it's a critical component of bringing those two together. We believe the mix of sports and entertainment, especially on the continent, is probably going to be our secret sauce. We see it happen all over the world, but we haven't seen it happen to the full extent, where you have African entertainment collaborating with African sports. And it's starting to happen. You look at properties like the BAL, I think they do a decent job at it. What our focus has been is perfecting an operating model that then can be overlaid with technology built for Africa. A lot of the international institutions that do technology for venues don't have, I wouldn't say don't have the appetite. I'm not sure if they are ready to integrate into the dynamics that we have on the continent. And so that is the next phase of our business, is how do we integrate technology and innovation that is built for the continent.
Rwanda's hospitality sector has also grown tremendously, welcoming world-renowned brands like the Kigali Marriott Hotel, Radisson Blu Hotel, and 4 Points by Sheraton, alongside the upcoming Movenpick, scheduled to open its doors in 2025.
It's a feather in Rwanda's cap that we are ranked number 2 to Cape Town Convention Centre, and obviously all the facilities and the good service and the safety of the country, the cleanliness of the country, the air accessibility to Kigali count all in its favour. And I'm pushing to get number 1 from an Africa point of view for Radisson Blu and Kigali Convention Centre. I'm very proud to say that currently, from a food point of view, we are only importing 2 to 3% of our food. So we have narrowed that gap considerably and supporting the local economy, which I think is vitally important. And we're working closely together with our suppliers. Obviously, from a beverage point of view, the wines and the alcohols, that's still being imported. But the economy thrives. And if you take, for example, the event like we have at the moment, Bashira, which is Business Africa. We've got 1,500 delegates here for 4 days that we are feeding, and we giving them things to drink, etc., etc. That economy spills all the way down, which people don't see, to our suppliers, to the economy, to their families. And from this event, we've already picked up 2 other events from that. So the economy, we believe that local is the best way to go.
Well, that's all we had for you on this Invest Rwanda 2024 recap. Remember, you can catch all these episodes and more on our website at cnbcafrica.com. We are excited to bring you more in 2025. I've been your host, Eric Shaka. From me and the entire team, it's a goodbye for now. See you soon. Ciao.